Alright, welcome to another edition of What the Fuck, happening to the YouTube atheist community and the TC debate fun. So anyway, last night, some debate early, some conversation anyway, relevant to the meaning of life and such things. But the rest of the night was sort of, I don't know, just conversational and blah blah blah. Some of this and some of that. Yeah, not too relevant, not too substantive. I'm still trying to accomplish something, and there really wasn't accomplishment involved. I thought there might be some extra participants, but they didn't show up, and blah 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 blah. But it doesn't matter. There's more time still. I think the world won't be coming to an end anytime soon. Probably, maybe, possibly not. So there's still time to end the world before the world ends. Yes. Anyway, getting to the point. It's not a point. Getting to the broader subject of whatever, conversation on the internet. Yeah, it's just gotten very narrow. Not even just conversation, but just the whole YouTube experience. It's gotten very narrow. Just the way there is no connection between conversations. The whole way the content's being indexed by YouTube is quite evil. The step strand video, which I'll link to one more time. Yeah, women seem to not like it at all for whatever reason. I would have preferred if she had her real voice. I mean, she should cover her own song, which is kind of funny. Boy, I smell smoke. But the wind's blowing this way, so it's somebody else's house burning down. I'd like more of her real voice and less of the effect kind of thing. But good video either way. Certainly more deserving, of more views than 500 or whatever it's got now. So anyway, that's a whole different separate commentary, I suppose. So otherwise, I did watch a Tool Time video. I haven't watched one of those in like 2 years. And there's some jibber-jabber about knee-jerk liberalism versus knee-jerk conservatism or some kind of bullshit like that. Yeah, some of that conversation might be useful in terms of putting things in perspective. With the whole conservative versus liberal non-dichotomy kind of crap, and taking things, each individual subject is sort of an individual subject. But anyway, it's a whole other thing. Pierrot's doing some sort of obnoxious satire of the news kind of thing. I don't know what the hell it is exactly. Shouldn't watch his videos. I told myself not to, but I did. But I'll get over it. They do annoy. So, what else? So the only other thing is Anticontivod's made a couple more videos. Pierrot ought to do a video about Anticontivod and play that apologist crap, because Anticontivod seems to be a criminal apologia. Asshole apologia. Yeah, we'll use that word. Sounds like a disease, apologia. Just such a slimy way to put something. But he really does seem like he seems to be a bad character apologist. And you're just like, why are you apologizing for people who, basically grew up being scum and became total scum? Especially in a world where the basic game isn't that complicated. He's using clips from movies, and so the movie clip that popped into my head was the Clint Eastwood line, where the guy says, "I deserve better than this," and Clint Eastwood says, "Deserve has nothing to do with it." But obviously, as human beings, we want deserve to have something to do with it. We want the game to be a fair kind of game. We don't like snarky little backstabbers. We're all against the sneaky little, conniver and cheater, because it fucks the game. No matter what game you're playing in life, you don't like somebody who's cheating at the game you're playing. Not playing by the rules kind of thing. And the joke is, he's talking like we are somehow all bloodthirsty, revenge-seeking, blah, blah, blah. And the truth is that we've become quite elegant. I mean, compared to what human beings were. I mean, we've passed laws where we put people in jail for torturing rats. Rats! You can go to jail for that now. If you maliciously harm a rat, you know, in some states you'll go to fucking jail. And so obviously we don't give criminals what they deserve. You can go out and rape and murder a teenage girl, and society won't kick you in the nuts and fucking feed your own ass to you. You know, they won't give you what you deserve. They'll give you a far more graceful than that. And so the joke is, he's talking as if we're all bloodthirsty, and the evidence is the exact opposite. That society has grown up quite a bit, and it's become quite elegant compared to what it was. Because we understand that, yeah, they're just sick. People are broken, and we've accepted that brokenness. But we're not celebrating it, or justifying it, or excusing it, you know, or apologizing for it. Yeah, it looks like a happy dog. Yes, it does. It looks like a happy dog. Yeah, you got your reward. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, he was mostly happy. Yeah. So why apologize for, you know, people who can't figure out the simple ABCs? And it really is a simple game. So let's not, you know, again, who's fooling who here with this bullshit that people can't figure out that, oh, you know, it's not nice to own people. Yeah, it's not nice to force them to go to work every day for 12 hours for no money for a donut. Oh, I can't figure out that that's wrong. You know, I can't figure out that raping and murdering a little girl is wrong. Yeah, that I'm stealing, that I'm taking. I mean, come on. It doesn't take a big giant brain to figure out that shit. So quit making excuses for it. Quit talking about it like it's some sort of cultural deviation or some kind of blah blah blah. No, it's rabies. It's mental rabies. They are fucked in the head, and they're shit. They're crap. You know, they need, like you don't sit there and go through a whole ritualistic procedure when you dispose of a broken toaster. You know, you don't sit there and mourn its passing. Oh, no, you celebrate the fact that I have an excuse to get something new and, you know, computerized. You know, I can have computer toast. So fuck that bullshit. Pretending that we should have all kinds of empathy and sorrow. We should just put the damn things to sleep like we'd shoot a rabid dog. Quit playing this bullshit game that they couldn't help being completely idiotic. Yeah, come on. Yeah. That's just catastrophic brain malfunction. And it deserves nothing but the minimum. Give him what a fucking rat deserves. Give him as much as we give a rat. Give him the same consideration you give a rat. You know, because that's all they deserve. Behave like a fucking microbe. You get treated like a microbe. You have a whole bunch of empathy for syphilis or something. You know, oh, we're trying to kill syphilis. Ooh, we're evil. No, syphilis sucks. It's just the way it is. So anyway, that conversation shouldn't even take place. It's just a stupid argument he's making. There's some sort of relativistic equality. There is no such thing, and certainly character is earned. People do personally sacrifice their own satisfaction to their understanding of right and wrong. There are people right now who want to do things that are wrong, and they know it's wrong, and they say, fuck me, I can't do that. And that's a different character of human than the asshole who says nihilistically, I'll take what I want. And the two should be treated differently. You should pin a little badge on one of them and you just, kick the other one in the nuts. So fuck you and this bullshit that we're all bloodthirsty. Now, we're not bloodthirsty. All we want is fairness and justice and, a fair chance. We're sick of getting ripped off by assholes. We're sick of paying 10 times more for something because some asshole fucks the game. Goddamn shoplifters, end up costing us all, thousands of dollars a year, because of the security and all the other crap that has to be built up just to protect, from the thieves. I mean, these fuckers cost us real comfort, and they shouldn't get away with it without realizing, that this is expensive. The education should be before the crime. Certainly prevention should be the primary focus, but there's also no reason in, singing sad songs for the fucking crazy assholes. And I mean crazy assholes because they're crazy on such a fundamental level that there's no excuse for it. I mean, it's not that complicated to figure out. It's stealing candy from a fucking baby. If you can't figure out that's right or wrong, you don't deserve to suck oxygen. Fuck. Anyway, I'm supposed to be running, so I will be back and such and so forth and whatnot. Alright, continuing where I left off. I probably should make videos on these subjects, but what the hell, let's see how it goes. If I have time, I'll do it in greater depth. But anyway, the modern mystics bring up the general subject of, it's sort of related in the sense that people are what they are, and everybody's playing the game from their own perspective, and so we all have our own little narrative established for us in life, and with these little vaguely, it's sort of related to the Professor Anton has also talked about this in his latest video, how we're kind of pre-pressurized, oriented, and it's like if I say certain words to you, those words will travel with you into the next few moments of your life. There's a word for this, preloading kind of thing. I mean, I'm sort of loading your next reaction with what I'm, what springs I'm compressing inside of you, and that we all get kind of compressed and in different ways by our life experience, and so it becomes what's the right word for it, what you call life or how you experience it is all dependent on these things. So it's like if we made life really simple, like there's only a one-day event, and half the day you spend picking oranges, that's the work you do, and the second half of the day you go to Disneyland and you have fun. And now you say, what is life? And so for each individual, those experiences will be experienced differently. If somebody's allergic to oranges, they're going to find the work horrible and awful. Or they have, something like, they have a more sensitive skin, and the orange peel, gets into their skin and burns. And so, the work is going to be really, really unpleasant. And then when they go to Disneyland, maybe somebody gets a headache. And so, Disneyland wasn't all that great, And so work was unpleasant. Disneyland wasn't all that great. So their overall opinion of the game is going to be like, well, that's a dumb game. I ain't going to play that again. And so it's like a lot of things are based on those kind of experiences we have with something. And then it's sort of like that establishes the tone that's ringing in our head, and we maybe will never get over that tone. So then even you might become a brain that spends its time analyzing versus a brain that just goes with the flow. You become risk averse, so you become risk indifferent. You associate playing the game hard with being a pirate or something, and you want to be the best pirate, or you think you're a Greek god, or you think you're a Roman soldier, or whatever you envision yourself as, and you start metaphoring your narrative, your whatever, your internal dialogue to reality, and so begins the problem of our divergency in terms of what we're perceiving the game to be, what we're perceiving elements of it to be. All this stuff wouldn't matter if it was just some dance you danced. I mean, the modern mystic ended his video with a metaphorical situation where three people are dancing the same dance, but they're dancing it from a different perspective. Different thoughts running in their heads. And so we're all playing the game of life. We're all playing it very differently from a different set of tools, both naturally imposed and nurtured into us by parentage and culture, opportunity, good fortune. These are really all kind of sort of important subjects. So important subjects in terms of understanding perspective. One of them, a substantial part of my aversion to procreation on a personal level is just a recognition of how many times I just missed disaster. How lucky I was to get through my youth without ended up paralyzed or, fucking something up in some sort of major way. And I appreciate the fact that I'm not going to be able to bestow that knowledge on some new person. They're going to have to learn it for themselves. You can tell somebody not to do something, and you can try to explain why it's stupid, but for a lot of these things, you have to actually do it to really get it. It's like you have to almost have a car accident to really understand, oh yeah, I don't want to have a car accident. That's really a bad thing to do. And you kind of have to learn your vulnerability, even walking or running, your coordination. You have to learn your limits through your experience. Somebody can tell you to be careful. We just kind of have to build it into your reflexes to be careful. It has to become your priority, not just an idea. And so there's a difference between the life we live and the life we understand. There's a difference between the immediate judgment we have to apply to get through the game and the better judgment we would apply if we could take our time. It's like taking a test or something. Some people, they might have a very high intelligence quotient if you give them more time, because it's not that they're not intelligent enough to do the reasoning required to come up with the right answer. It's that they do need time to do it. It's not something they can immediately access. It's something they have to deductively figure out. It's like they don't have a memory, or they haven't memorized the truth in detail, like what happened in what year, but they have an understanding of the mechanism, so they can rebuild the right answer. They can rebuild an understanding of what was through deduction. And so it's like both would have the right answer, and it's somehow you're rewarding somebody for having it built into their muscle memory, having it built in as a knee-jerk reaction, and kind of penalizing somebody for figuring out, eliminating, wrong answers and deductively coming to the correct answer. And because one takes more time, and there's this premium on time. You don't have time to research it all, to get all the statistics, to analyze all the angles, to figure out all the potential permutations. And certainly time should be required when it comes to significant decisions. If you're going to build a nuclear power plant, you sort of have an obligation to think through all the permutations, recognize, even the most bizarre environmental event that might disable your creation. And the same is true if you're going to have kids or do something else important. You really should be mindful of all the possible scenarios and have an answer for how you're going to deal with those scenarios in some sort of responsible way. No way to really feed this back to Anaconabot, I don't think. Certainly people aren't quote unquote responsible for being an asshole, but it doesn't change the fact that we can call them an asshole and that we can dispose of them as assholes. We can do what you do with assholes, which is you don't pet them on the hiney and say good job. You do something else to eradicate their dysfunction. You either fix them, turn them into non-assholes, or you do something to eliminate their potential as a threat. Hey, pup. Hey, pup. Hey. Hey. What are you doing all by yourself? Huh? Where's your people? Where's your people, huh? Oh, there they are. Okay. I don't like dogs running up to me in the woods. This wasn't a very big dog, so couldn't do too much damage. Where was I? Very alert, the dog, though. Very alert. Very intense. Even dogs, right? Dogs live a simple life. It's kind of a simple function. They don't have very high demands. They don't have to be architects or something. And yet every dog has its own personality. Its own, certainly they fit into categories of aggressive and friendly and all that kind of stuff. But they're all nuanced by this nature and nurture thing, and into very different kinds of animals. Humans are the same. They're natured and nurtured into very different kinds of animals. But I would argue that there's an overlayment of linear reasoning that applies over the whole concept, a framework of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Of these basic standards. And so some of this stuff, should really be, there should be a minimum definition of competency. Acceptance of the fact that you live on planet Earth, and acceptance of the fact that, yes, God is a suspect concept, very suspect, incredibly suspect, and that, yes, we are possessed by, two elements of functionality. The personal, visceral, breathing machine, the biology, the psychology, the want, the desire, the hunger, and this mechanism for analytic modeling. This mechanism that can understand that my welfare is not more important than that person's welfare. That broken leg is broken leg is broken leg, and it really doesn't matter who's got the broken leg. That you can't gain your comfort at somebody else's expense seems a minimum standard of functionality. If you can't accept that concept, you really are too stupid to play the game. You're too dumb to be a liberated dog. You need to be put on a leash and such. Anyway, I think we've made enough of a video. I'm feeling a bit allergic and cruddy. Yeah, what else is new? Man. Fuck. It really is a chore getting through every day. Awful lot of work, it seems. Anyway, I like this rock. I have to trim these bushes, make this a nice little thinking rock. Meditation rock of some kind. Anyway, certainly not a winter project. Gotta get rid of this here pointy stick. It has a look on it like it wants to do something. Gotta cut this stuff out of here. I gotta get the chainsaw going. Anyway, enough babble. So, it'll be the next time. And such videos will be, wherever I post them. Just so you know, for kids or one of the other associated channels based on my, what I think is appropriate, I suppose. Some kind of blood sugar problem. Yeah, I just got complaints is what I got. Anyway, till next time. I'm going to go this time. I do have a problem with transitions. One of my little personality quirks and such. Anyway, till next time. Now I'm done. Really, going.